Sean was appalled with the sleeping conditions at the lodging. Expectations, like possibly higher expectations than Jesus had. You dodged the bomb. This is a bomb. And here's Sean holding the bomb. Wake up and win. Wake up and win. Wake up. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Wake Up and Win podcast. Today I'm your host, Blaise, and I want to dive in for a moment on Sean Feucht in Canada. Okay, Sean Feucht is up in Canada right now on a tour of some kind, and in the midst of truthandfreedomstories.com coming out within the last month and allegations of spiritual abuse as well as financial mismanagement and possibly worse. All of that has come public in the last 3 to 5 weeks or so, and Sean is now in Canada doing a freedom tour or outdoor worship thing, et cetera, doing Sean's thing. I have no qualms or no issues with him wanting to go do worship events, but here is the issue that I have, I get the sense that Sean utilizes controversy to, to push him forward in a sense that creates controversy, then utilizes it to kind of build a platform for himself. There's no issue in my mind. As I look back at Sean Feucht, I personally watched Sean do Let Us Worship during COVID, and I thought it was really cool. That was at the time I was going, man, they're trying to tell people they can't gather for worship. That is crazy. Like, I was that type of person that was going, I don't like the idea that the government can suddenly tell you not to go outside or not to go to church. It just seemed very strange to me. Now, you guys might all disagree on that. Neither here nor there. I'll just say that I didn't like that. I thought that was bad. I thought it's a bad precedent, and I thought it's not helpful. Sean going out and doing the outdoor worship events, I thought, man, that's cool. He's getting people outside to go worship together during this time. I thought that was cool. Now, in hindsight, I don't know what I think about it simply because of what I'm watching him do today. Yesterday, Sean Feucht posted a picture of he called it getting smoke bombed, I think is what he called it, or firebombed. He called it getting firebombed and in a church. He said, we just got firebombed in a church. And so when I looked this up, I went, hold on, what is a firebomb, first of all? And is he firebombed? Like, what is going on? But then it simply looked like it was just a smoke bomb, like a pink smoke bomb. Okay, so here it is. Here is the post that Sean Feucht made, and I've actually got, it looks like Mike Winger reposted it and did a response to it. He says, an example of a lie today. Sean Feucht claims he was firebombed in an image. He boasts that they kept worshiping anyways. One commenter is skeptical. What really happened in image 2 here is it looks like he had a gender reveal party because somebody tossed a smoke bomb. So if you look here at the first image, he says, I was just firebombed inside the church by Antifa mid-worship song. I dodged the bomb and we are still going, but they can't stop the sound of worship. So like, if I see that, I'm like, dude, that's crazy. That is nuts, right? You're kind of like, that's crazy. Well, then you look and you're like, wait a second. You dodged the bomb? This is a bomb? And here's Sean holding the bomb. And it's like, now look, I don't think it's a good idea, and nor do I welcome the idea of throwing a smoke bomb into a worship thing or something. Apparently, I guess this is sound check or something. But making it seem like he got firebombed, this is the type of thing that I was told and that we're being told by so many of the whistleblowers from the truthandfreedomstories.com, is that Sean would say, yeah, 3,000 people were in attendance today. And then people that were there were like, actually, there was 300 people there. And you can think, oh, that's just a personality thing. He just exaggerates a little bit because he's excited. I don't think so. This guy is actually smart. He wants us to think that he's like a fool or something, but he's very smart. He's calculated in what he says and what he does. And he utilizes anything for a picture and to be able to garner attention while at the same time, while this is happening. So here's the other thing that came out is that I guess in Quebec, they got their concert canceled got the worship concert canceled. And so Sean was really making a big deal out of that because, of course, if the worship concert's canceled, then you go, well, Canada doesn't love Jesus and their government, it doesn't love Jesus. Well, of course, so many governments are like antichrist or whatever, but like they're saying their government is this way. They don't allow for freedom of worship. Well, I'm reading this comment, and this one happened just to be on Steve Kozar's channel by somebody in Quebec that says, just FYI, I live in Quebec where Sean's concert has been canceled. Less than 2 weeks ago, there was a huge march for Jesus in the streets of Montreal, combined with outdoor worship and prayer. It was a huge success. Okay. Sean is spinning the narrative and says that his shows are being canceled all over Quebec and Canada. It's an attack on God and Christianity and on our freedom of speech. It's annoying and untrue. We just had a huge outdoor Christian event with absolutely no problems. Okay, what else? I'm annoyed. I'm very annoyed. I also feel very alone in all this. My friends are afraid. My old pastor believes his narrative, and I am called divisive for calling Sean out. Yeah. I mean, this is so strange to me to watch. It's very strange to watch because, okay, so is he getting canceled because they are trying to cancel God in Canada when you just had a huge Jesus march outside with worship and singing? Why was that not shut down, but Sean's thing is being shut down? Well, Sean, there seems to be something of controversy that follows Sean that he actually kind of likes. I mean, there are allegations, allegedly, of him smuggling his merchandise into Canada when he's gone into Canada. That's been on the whistleblower's website, truthandfreedomstories.com, because he doesn't want to have to pay any of the fees for the merch to do business in Canada. So, those are stories that are verified by 2 or more witnesses. There's a lot there with Sean that makes me go, I don't think he's the guy. I think that outdoor worship, public prayer, all of that is awesome and it's powerful, but you have, in my mind, I'm thinking, why are we propping up this individual at this time for the purpose of, freedom of religion? It's the same way in my mind. I'm going to be a little bit extreme on this example, but for me, it feels the same way the conservative movement props up Andrew Tate as he's some hero of freedom of speech or something like that. And I'm going, don't you guys realize that's opposite? That's not the person that you want to be propping up. I know that's an extreme example, and I'm not saying that Sean is like him at all. I'm just saying that it's when a movement that is supposedly supposed to be about truth and integrity props up a guy that's showing a lot of lack of integrity, exaggeration, and straight up lies, then I don't think that should be the person that we are propping up and supporting with our support money and saying that he is the beacon of freedom for America and Canada. But let me know your thoughts below, just simply on this comment by this person here. I got to find their handle here. Let's see if I can get the handle in there. Okay, it's I don't know how to say that word, but it looks like it's Canadian. But yeah, let us know your thoughts here on this topic, on this story, because it is definitely one of those situations where I'm going, this is odd. And it's hard for any Canadian that believes in freedom of speech, freedom of worship, freedom of religion to just see the story on its surface and go, they're terrible. They're ruining Sean. They're trying to ruin religion. They're trying to ruin worship. When I see a comment like this and I go, well, wait, maybe there's something else going on here. Another thing happened here with Sean. He was recently, apparently he was canceled from this event in, what's it called? In the First Nation, Kawartha First Nation says that they canceled, their event was canceled last minute by Sean Feucht. And this First Nations tribe thing, I don't really know much about them. I actually got called out on X by a guy saying like, oh, you don't know what they're truly about, so you clearly haven't done your research. I'm like, I don't really know what they're about. It seems like they could be kind of cultish in their thoughts and possibly connected to like theology that I totally disagree with. But that's neither here nor there. That's honestly Sean Feucht's issue. Why was he even doing a worship event for them if it's so controversial? But neither here nor there. What I'm looking at is the fact that he canceled on them last minute based on, it says that there was an email that Feucht, it says that Feucht was appalled, quote, appalled with the sleeping conditions of the lodging that was provided and would not lead worship despite previous assurances that his team only needed a, quote, place to lay their heads in a shower after days on the road. So they got their stop canceled by Sean in less than 48 hours, and it looks like, and because they didn't like the sleeping arrangements. And so anyway, it just kind of, in my mind, when I look at it, I go, that type of last-minute cancellation based on, hey, we don't like the way the sleeping arrangements are, or we don't like the accommodations, or the room's not clean enough or good enough, it actually falls in line to a lot of the way Sean has treated many of the people that have traveled with him or been with him. He has cut corners on them financially to provide reimbursements for many of his people. Folks like Matthew Lilly, folks like Richie Booth, underpaid, even asked when he could, hey, can I get market rate for just simply being your accountant and for, light a candle? And for some reason, the answer was no. So when I see this treatment right here, what it reminds me of is the stories of the whistleblowers, because with anything, when it comes to allegations of spiritual abuse or just mistreatment or exaggeration or lying, you want to have 2 or 3 witnesses to these things. And so we've got multiple witnesses, and the other witness, like the 10th witness, would be the pattern. Okay, anytime there's an allegation, because sometimes with some situations, there's allegations and there's only one witness. And you go, well, where's the other witness? You go, well, okay, there's a witness to one situation, but then when I look at a pattern that points to that situation, a constant pattern, sometimes the pattern actually ends up being the other witness. You go, okay, well, there's patterns like this and this and this and this and this. So when this person says this, it actually matches the pattern that we can pay attention to. And so I'm not saying that's the case with Sean. I'm saying that the pattern is actually like the 10th or the 11th witness, actually, when it comes to the stories of the whistleblowers. And this pattern of canceling on these people last minute based on kind of this level of, desired comfort and I don't know what the word would be, but it's like, I just can't imagine. I can imagine like a CEO doing this, okay? I can imagine a CEO doing this. I can imagine like a Fortune 500 CEO doing this, or like even just like a business owner doing this. I can imagine that. And I wouldn't even fault them big time for saying, hey, we're not going to do this. I'm not going to stay here because of this. But to cancel an entire event because of the housing for a minister of the gospel speaks volumes about that minister of the gospel. Okay, I look at the Apostle Paul. He said, for the sake of the gospel, I bear on my body the marks of Christ. And he's like, night and day, many nights on open sea, shipwrecked on open sea, beaten with rods multiple times, stoned multiple times, 40 lashes minus 1 multiple times. It's like, are you kidding me? And I'm not saying you go like throw yourself in like terrible housing, but like, this seems to me to point to an issue of, of expectations, like possibly higher expectations than Jesus had in ministry, higher expectations than the Apostle Paul had in ministry. And this is reminiscent to me of a conversation I had with Bob Gladstone recently, and really the sermon I heard him preach recently when he came through town in Greenville here, and he shared about the Apostle Paul and the apostolic calling and to serve the body of Christ. And when I look at an email like this, that Sean's team was appalled, that Sean was appalled with the sleeping conditions at the lodging, and even though he said, hey, my team just needs a place to stay for the night, like it, and we're canceling because of this, it just seems to me to be a pattern of expectations that are possibly unbiblical. And I don't think it's healthy. What do you guys think? I think this probably exists throughout the body of Christ, throughout different ministries and ministers, and I am all for prospering, as a Christian, even as a minister. I'm not talking about should you be provided for and provided for well. I'm just saying that there's a level of, demanding rights, and that I think is not Christ-like in situations like this. But correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm missing something. I would love to see that this is maybe, just exaggerated or something. And no, he didn't do this. But it seems to me that this is a firsthand account of a guy that received the email and that they were doing an event with, and he canceled suddenly because he did not like the lodging accommodations. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts below. And as always, this episode is brought to you by Wake Up and Win Life Insurance. If you're in need of a life insurance consultation, we've been doing that for almost a decade now, and we do term life, whole life, universal life, index universal life, and annuity. So let me know if that is something you need, and you can click the link below. Happy to meet with you. All right, guys, until next time, take care.
Wake up and win. Wake up and win. Wake up and win. Wake up and win. Wake up.